Okay, Dee.
Okay. It's Mental Health Monday once again with Lorraine Purcell. And Lorraine, I'm so glad to be joining you via a phone conference from a train.
Yay!
I'm somewhere east of St. Paul, Minneapolis, and so if you or the listeners hear train noise or any type of announcements over a loudspeaker, then that's why. So, and I'm just enjoying a nice restful train trip back to Illinois. So as I'm sitting here, Lorraine, in my roomette on the Empire Builder train, I have your latest article in my hand, Lorraine, and I just want to start with the title of it. I love the title, which is "Love Yourself All the Time." Why?
Is that what I wrote about?
Well, actually, Lorraine, you have been focusing on self-appreciation and self-love quite a bit lately. And why is that?
Well, it must be what I'm needing, because otherwise I wouldn't be writing about it. Because as you know, I write those to myself. It's like what I'm going through, and I'm just sharing it with everybody. So, and plus with my clients, I've been noticing lately they need a lot of self-love and self-appreciation. Oh, that's right. It was about the little thing I did with the fourth graders. That's what it was.
Yes, you did. You mentioned that you presented to 14 groups of fourth graders at a children's health fair, and 14 times, because there were 14 groups, 14 times you screamed about yes energy.
Yeah. David changed the title, so that's why I was thrown off. So, love yourself. So yes energy and shouting for joy, and I think it was just so exhilarating to be yelling at the top of my lungs and being so enthusiastic. I think I lost 5 pounds too. Just getting these kids like rallied together to really, really dig who they are.
You mentioned that you must have lost 10 years from your face by loosening up and being silly.
Yeah, being silly is a very underrated thing. I do this thing with my grandkids called my silly grandma dance, and almost every time I see them, they want me to do my silly grandma dance.
Well, you know what, Lorraine? Kids love being silly with adults, and I think as adults, it just takes us to a place where we let down all of our inhibitions. When we take that, when we just let our hair down and be silly.
It's like as we get older, with every year, we get more and more imprisoned, I think. And
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't understand sometimes why we put those restraints and limitations on ourselves.
Well, because the people around us say things like, you're weird, you're acting strange, you embarrass me. So we learn that we have to cut off a piece of ourselves and lose our authenticity as we go further into relationships and with every year. And then pretty soon we're afraid what people think of us.
And children aren't that way.
Not yet, no.
You presented to these children at a children's health fair, and Lorraine, you wanted to encourage the kids to just yes energy, is one of the things that you talked about. And what is this thing about yes energy?
Well, it's just that thing, that uncontrollable thing in us that just wants to go, yes! That just is, you're just so enthusiastic about who you are and where you are and what you're doing and what you're about. And as we walk that path of getting to know who we are, and the only way you can do that is by walking in authenticity. You can't live your life for pleasing other people or for how it's going to be, like keeping up appearances. That'll keep you in the anti-silly zone. You know, we've got to be just free to be ourselves if we're going to have any kind of freedom.
Yes. And just as you were encouraging those children to do that, do you find that it's so much easier with children that they have less inhibition than adults when you encourage adults to just shout at the top of our lungs how absolutely wonderful and unique that we are? That is one of the questions that you pose here. When was the last time you shouted at the top of your lungs how absolutely wonderful and unique you are?
Yeah, adults don't do it. I'm hard pressed to get one or two compliments, not compliments, but self-compliments from people to themselves when I ask that question. But these kids were just, in fourth grade, you'd think they'd already be indoctrinated to be ashamed and suppressed, but they weren't. They were right out there.
Yeah, really you mentioned that they had no hesitation and they yelled out things like, I played basketball, I'm good at sports, I love animals, I'm nice to people. Mm-hmm. I'm a great dancer, I'm good at technology, and on and on. And it's just a celebration of ourselves and our uniqueness, as you put it. I am challenged, Lorraine, myself, to think of 5 things right now that I like about myself. Is that unusual is that something that's kind of, as adults, that we struggle with?
Well, it's not unusual, Dee, but I think it's really sad. And I'm not saying that you're sad. I'm saying that, I could tell you 10, 15 things about you that are to be appreciated. And it's that enculturation that tells us, oh, you're going to be conceited. Oh, you better be careful. People will think you're full of yourself. It's like, well, let them think that you're full of yourself. Let them deal with their own process. You have a fabulous radio personality. You are a kind and loving person. You have one of the best laughs that I have ever heard.
Thank you.
You make a mean spaghetti. So, it can just go on and on and on and on and on. And that's what I invite you and everybody else to do is just, write down those 10 things and keep adding to that list. And because if we don't appreciate ourselves, we can't appreciate anybody else.
And you know what, Lorraine? While I'm on the train, I think I'll do that. I'll start my list.
Good. And you can repeat it every day and then add one more and repeat the whole list the next day and add one more. And just remind yourself of who you are because you are God's creation. God does not make junk.
And when we do that, Lorraine, when we even write down those affirmations, what does that do for us?
Well, it elevates our spirit. It elevates our vibration. And then we attract more good things to ourselves. And that's the whole cycle of life right there, is raising our vibration so we can attract more high vibrational things to us.
I want to read your words from your article. You say, what are you good at and love doing so much that it makes the time just fly, and you do it without pay? What is your zone of genius, as Gay Hendricks calls it, your zone of genius?
Yep. It's that thing that you were born to do. It's not your zone of excellence, and it's not your zone of competence. It's your zone of genius, where you're just so in the zone that it's like no friction on your wheels. You kind of don't get tired. You're just invigorated as you keep going. And the more we appreciate ourselves, the things we like about ourselves, that will start to grow. It's huge. We can't even love our kids if we're judging ourselves.
That's true. So true, Lorraine. And
the
you
things
also
we
say,
judge others. Go ahead.
You say, don't worry about being conceited or bragging. Will Rogers said it ain't bragging if it's true.
Right. And the things we judge others so harshly for are the things we judge ourselves for. Because people are just our mirrors.
That is true. I wonder if do we see things in others because it's in our lives?
Yeah, I think so. That's what it means when people are our mirrors. Otherwise, we'd be seeing something different. Or that's why this situation has presented itself, because, this is what I'm not accepting, or this is what I'm harsh on myself for, or hard on myself for.
Yes. Well, Lorraine, uplifting is your genius. That is your gift to others, is upliftment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I admire your sensitivity and your perception. You are very keen. You have such a such a sense, Lorraine, and I want your listeners and I just want the folks to know how sensitive you are, that is such a plus whenever you and I have talked and we have met together and I have talked about issues in my life with you, how sensitive you are. And I guess these are your attributes, Lorraine: sensitivity and just a keen awareness of what is going on when a person, when you say, what are you feeling right now? What are you feeling inside? And you have such a keen awareness of when those feelings are expressed by that person. You nail it, Lorraine. You know what is going on in that situation. And I so appreciate that about you, that that you have that perception of what you just get to the heart of it, Lorraine. You immediately are able to get to the heart of what it is, what's going on in that particular circumstance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I wait on God before I open my mouth, and it's like I just go into the middle of the flame and just wait until I get the words to say. And sometimes there are no words,
Yes.
It's just whatever it takes to support a person at wherever they find themselves. That's what it's all about, I believe.
Sometimes
and doing that for ourselves.
Sometimes, Lorraine, it's hard for people to get in touch with their feelings and be honest and tell you what they are feeling. Do you find that sometimes in your practice, that it's hard for people to even tell you what they're feeling?
Usually, no, they're pretty good at telling me how they're feeling because they're in a lot of pain. And so we just start excavating like an archaeological dig. Like, okay, put the scaffolding over here. We're going to go into this area. All right. And there's some places where you just have to take the little paintbrush and gently flick the dust away because it's such a delicate spot. And there are other times where it's, well, let's just start using the shovel. Let's start, undoing this. So it's just a fascinating field, and I love it.
It is. You're like an archaeologist of the human heart and the human soul, Lorraine.
I like that.
Because you dig deeper than what is on the surface, and you have told me before, when I have told you how I'm feeling, you have told me before that there it is. There's the bedrock, Dee. There is the bedrock of what you're feeling and what the problem is. You have distilled it down to the actual bedrock, and you're that's just so that's right on, Lorraine.
Yeah, that's just what That's just what I instinctively go after, because I don't want to waste people's money or my time. So we might as well get down to it.
And so what we're talking about here right now is just being authentic, being honest, and I have said to you before, in just explaining my feelings, I have said something like, I apologize, Lorraine, for being so dramatic. And you said, no. You said, no. You said, no, something to the effect of, that is your feelings and honor them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not drama. If it's your feelings, it's not drama. Drama is like dividing people and saying things that are derisive. But your feelings are not drama. Your feelings are to be honored, because if we don't pay attention to our feelings, we will get disease. We will get cancer. We will get heart disease. We will lose organs. We'll get skin conditions. Our body reflects our mental health. And if we're lacking mental health, our body shows it. That's why I went into counseling, because I wanted people to be disease-free. And so I know that when people can honor their feelings and be authentic and truly honor that they are God's own or Source's own or Universe's own, that when they can honor that, then there's a harmony that happens inside the cells, inside the space between the cells, inside the mitochondria. There is a freshness that flows in the blood that cleanses everything. But if we don't honor our feelings, we're messed up. We're going to be messed up. And the more we suppress our feelings, the more messed up we get. Maybe that's why adults get diseases and children don't as often, although children get diseases oftentimes because they're telepathically picking up on the fears of their parents and other people around them. So,
well, yes, that's true, Lorraine. And as my train is pulling into Red Wing, Minnesota, and you just mentioned though a word. I just caught a word there that you brought up, cleansing. And that stuck out to me, that word cleansing. And so I'm kind of on a pilgrimage myself, Lorraine. I'm on I love the way you put it. I'm on a vision quest, and I am looking to cleanse my soul of some toxins. My soul needs a cleansing. And, you find people on trains that all the time that are on this kind of a similar journey, that they just need quiet, and the train just allows for that, and it allows for a soul-searching and just a cleansing. And I think that is so very important.
Well, you're a brave woman to do this and to live in your authenticity. And that's what I encourage everyone to do, is to find the time to go into their authenticity. And what is kind of moving inside of you as you're traveling on this train, Dee?
Are you asking me a question here?
Yes. I was just wondering if you would like to share, with people, it might inspire them.
Well, before I embarked on this trip, Lorraine, you had told me that I would get clarity, and clarity started coming to me on this train just 7 hours into the trip. And I woke up at 2:00 in the morning, and just so that I didn't want to lose my thoughts, and so I wrote them down. I wrote them down in a journal, and I would just share with those that are listening that journaling is important, and I did not want to lose those thoughts that I had and that clarity that was coming to me. And some of the clarity, some of the thoughts that came to me weren't all positive, but I felt that much of it was truth, and some of it I'm still processing. But part of the clarity that came to me as a mother of a 21-year-old is that my daughter is, my relationship with my daughter is changing, it's evolving, and she just doesn't need me in her life as much anymore. And that's the clarity that I'm getting, and it's truth, but God is bringing it to me in a way that it's not painful, and it doesn't cut like a knife. It's not painful, but it just comes as it comes as just something I need to accept as I let my baby girl go and let her have that freedom in her life. And I think if you can get into a place where you can be quiet, and listen to that still small voice, and get that clarity, then you can. It's wonderful that you can hear the truth. You can get that truth, but it's not painful. Does that make any sense, Lorraine?
Yes, it does. And I just think that what you're doing is such a huge step, and I just want to encourage the listeners to take your cue, because so many of us have lost our soul. We don't know where it is. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know what color it is. We don't know what it smells like. We don't know what it tastes like. We don't know what it likes. And you're on your vision quest to reunite with yourself again at, huge personal sacrifice. But it's so important to you to have authenticity. And I was hoping we would get here today, because authenticity is the key. And it doesn't matter what kind of sacrifice you go through to get to that authenticity. It's worth it, because you only have you. You have to be your own best friend. You can have friends, you can have husbands, you can have wives, you can have children, you can have parents, but it's that relationship that you have with you that is lasting. Knowing who you are.
Yes.
Knowing your gifts.
And so on this vision quest, Lorraine, I'm just asking myself some questions. What do I do with the truth? What do I do with now? What do I do with the clarity, the clarification? What do I do with it?
Yeah. It'll be interesting what you find out. But it's a journey. That's what's so exciting. It's a journey.
Yes, it is. It is a journey and a pilgrimage, as you said, and one that I had to make.
Mhm.
And it does come at a sacrifice sometimes, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. And Lorraine, I just so appreciate you. I appreciate your heart for people. You care about people and you want to help them, and you are helping them. This program we're doing has and is helping people, and it's not a waste of your time, Lorraine, and it's not a waste of anyone's time to listen to it and take out those nuggets of truth and apply them to their life.
Well, Dee, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for you inviting me to be on your show. And that's, like the way God brought us together was so divine, and we just had a fabulous stint of like eye-opening revelations multiple times on every show.
It sure was. It was a God thing.
It was a God thing. And it's the chemistry of the two of us. Like, I could sit on here and I could just blab, but it's the chemistry of the two of us that makes it really work. In fact, I was just talking to my web guy just before you and I got on this call, Dee, and he was like, yeah, you guys are great together. You really had a chemistry. You really have a chemistry. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just, it's just a blessing. And so I thank you so much for inviting me to that first show and where we decided we were going to do this every week.
5 months ago, I think it was, Lorraine, that we began Mental Health Monday, and it's been a pleasure every time. A pleasure every time, Lorraine.
Mhm. And, we've made dear friendship.
Yes.
And every time we have that show, I grow and learn, and I always feel better afterwards. And, I've said before how I sometimes will read my own articles and listen to my own radio shows when I need it. Just because I help other people doesn't mean I don't need help. So, yes, I need help. Help!
Oh, well, it's been wonderful talking to you, Lorraine. I don't know what our time limit is, or if we have is there a element of time?
We have a few more minutes, and let me just conclude by saying that it is your biggest imperative to love yourself. Because until you love yourself and accept yourself, and to the point of being silly and screaming at the top of your lungs that you love yourself, you are handicapped in loving others. Because we can only love from the base that we've created within ourselves, for ourselves. And that's a huge part of the journey that I think Jesus was talking about, and the other religions talk about, for those of you who are not Christian-based. My message is not a Christian message. My message is a spiritual message. Just go within and tap into that relationship, that sacred relationship that you have with your Maker. And so that you can love your children, and you can love your husband or wife, and you can love your neighbor as yourself, because that's the problem. We love our neighbors as ourselves. That's what's wrong with the world, is we do love our neighbors as ourselves, and it's not a pretty thing. So take that time to cultivate how much you love yourself, how much you appreciate yourself. When you've finished doing something fabulous, like made a great meal, just kind of like put your arms around yourself and go, wow, that was great. I just love that I cook so well. Or maybe you're a thoughtful gift giver and you lift people's day. Like when I finish a good counseling session, I'm just like, I look in my rearview mirror as I'm driving away from my house call and I say, oh, I love me. I just love me. And that's what I want all of you to say. And just like shake the dust off your feet of the indoctrination that says you can't say that. Mm. There's not one place in Scripture that says that that's what we're supposed to do. Mm. It's indoctrination that has put us there.
Yes. And as you have said to me before, Lorraine, you deserve your dream. Lorraine, you deserve your dream. I deserve my dream. And the listener deserves their dream.
Yes, 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 yes. I will proclaim yes energy to that, Dee.
Well, Lorraine, thank you for allowing me to join you today for Mental Health Monday via the Empire Builder train.
Well, if anyone listening would like to chat with me, feel free to call me at area code 808-936-4370, 808-936-4370. And, we'll sit down for a spell and we'll visit and find out what's going on with you and see if what I do can lend you a hand on your journey. And what I invite everybody to do is go to my website, LorrainePurcell.com. That's LORRAINE, P as in Paul, UR, S as in Sam, ELL.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, it says uplift your inbox. And put in your first name and email, and you will get this radio show. You will get my parent offering on Mondays, and you'll also get the Williston Herald article on Fridays. And it's all about uplifting in the human journey. Mm. So, Dee, it's been a pleasure to be with you today.
Oh, thank you, Lorraine. It's been, as always, a pleasure for this edition of Mental Health Monday, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, my friend.
Thank you, dear. You take care and have a wonderful time on your vision quest.
I will, Lorraine, and let's keep in touch.
Sounds good. You inspire all of us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye.